You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have to whore myself out if you kids didn't steal my music.
Hey, Metallica, so what?
We have MTV making light of both violence and rebellion against adults in one of their network bumpers, and then broadcasting a PSA against violence. Violence, it should be noted, that featured a person being beaten with a club. We have bands like Rage Against the Machine getting their audience to do what they tell them to do by chanting, even more surreal is their hardcore advocacy of Marxist socialism, all the while getting rich and enjoying the unparalleled liberties of the very free market economy they condemn. Like other rock artists from time to time, they raise some valid issues, particularly their condemnation of the way our two-party system has been co-opted by big money, special interests, and mushy middle politicians. But what is their alternative? To scream, F you, to advocate unbiblical economic systems that lead to poverty and the loss of freedom everywhere it's been tried? To smash TVs and squat atop a stage prop? What the world needs is a generation that can spread the light, not whine and curse the darkness. And finally, there's the absurdity of an industry that has gotten rich promoting sins that tear at the fabric of society, and then turns around and occasionally tries to raise both money and awareness in order to help fix the very problems that the immorality associated with the music helped create in the first place.
You don't have to say nothing. I know your body wants something.
R. Kelly, for example, has gotten rich singing about and promoting promiscuity, but was then lauded as a hero when he wrote a song to help fight, get this now, a largely promiscuity-based disease. And then there's Janet Jackson, an artist who's often honored as one of the good guys. Her involvement with Colin Powell's America's Promise Foundation was front and center during her Velvet Rope tour, with some of the proceeds going to help its efforts on behalf of the less fortunate.
Help become a mentor for a child. Help keep our kids off the street because they really do need us. Please.
But hold on. The facts are in. One of the greatest causes of poverty, poor self-esteem, and disease, the very problems the foundation is attempting to address, is sexual promiscuity and its inevitable byproducts. And what are Jackson's personal life, her music, the concert, and even the concert title filled with? Sexual innuendo, partial nudity, references to genital piercings, bondage themes, etc. This level of cognitive dissonance shot through the roof during the production of her music video, If. Close to 80 pregnant 13 to 17-year-olds, or teens who'd recently had babies, were invited down by Jackson. And the video they saw made, you got it, a veritable training film for lust-driven sexuality. And deep down, Miss Jackson knew it. The article continued. There was one individual, though, who was discouraged from dropping by, Catherine Jackson, her mom. The one person that kept running through my head while I was writing these songs was my mother, Jackson says. I told her, some of my movements are very sexy. I'd be embarrassed if you were there. Number 3. Rebellion is fundamentally occultic. Defining rebellion in this way makes perfect sense when one understands the basic difference between the Judeo-Christian cosmology and the one generally embraced by the occult and Eastern traditions. The difference can be summed up by contrasting two words: cosmos versus chaos. The Greek word cosmos, a word that is front and center throughout the New Testament as well as in the Greek translation of the Old, carries within it the suggestion of order and harmony. The occult world, on the other hand, in this as well as in most everything else, seeks to reverse the divine order. Rather than God, chaos or emptiness is seen as the ultimate ground of being, and the material world is viewed as either illusory, Maya in the Hindu lexicon, or as in the Gnostic tradition, fallen from the true realm of the spirit. Amid this quantum cloud of uncertainty, God and His will become either unknowable or subject to the whims of human imagination. Man is born to do what he wills, and chaos has become his midwife.
All creation begins in chaos, progresses in chaos, and ends in chaos.
The phenomenon of being is this self-synergizing engine of out of chaos, through creativity, into the imagination, back into chaos, out into creativity, so forth and so on.
See, quantum physics gave us the real term to describe what happens when you take a powerful psychedelic plant or drug. Chaos. Back to the idea of surfing the waves of chaos.
I'm surfing the chaos, riding the wave in my mind. We're confused. I'm so fucking confused, man. It's all chaos. Please, man, I'm surfing the chaos like roll, baby, roll.
You definitely generate an atmosphere or a mood which might be characterized as rebellion, chaos, disorder, and activity that appears to have no meaning.
They have figured out the formula for chaos. Chaos is a beautiful thing. Three wrong now and the right. There's only pleasure and pain.
And so the clear line between light and darkness, life and death, meaning and meaninglessness presents itself. On the one hand, a cosmos, created and sustained by the Almighty, suffused with design and meaning. And then, on the other hand, there's the embrace of chaos and a descent into the void. For those with the epistemological integrity to embrace the fullness of this horror, well, as more than one rock and roll icon has stated,
nothing is true, everything is permitted.
Nothing is true, everything is permitted.
Because nothing's true, she said everything's permitted.
and this is why rebellion is a form of occultism. God's order and rule, His cosmos, is rejected. People begin to worship, to derive meaning from the creation rather than the Creator, the very foundation of witchcraft. People rebel, concoct their own so-called truths, make up their own rules. They begin to do what they want. Most dabble in their defiance, afraid to fully embrace the horror of this nothing's true, everything's permitted worldview. But dabbling with rebellion is like dabbling with theft. You may just be stealing candy, but you're still a thief. Just so, anytime we choose our will over God's, chaos over cosmos, we are rebels and moving in precisely the wrong direction. Everywhere in today's music and popular culture, people are scattering, allowing spiritual entropy to drag them into the void. Artists proudly admit that they don't write real songs, they produce chaos. Decay, ugliness, death, Dissonance, pain, darkness, despair, and meaninglessness abound in popular culture. Laziness, disrespect, rioting, stupidity, irresponsibility, and perpetual adolescence are everywhere celebrated.
Responsibility, what's that? I don't want to think about it. We'd be better off without it.
Leaders of the occult revival, as well as artists who hated Christ and sought inspiration from nihilism and the derangement of all the senses, serve as patron saints for rock's most influential musicians.
So tell me